Okay, picture this. A world where our biggest, most incredible cities, the hearts of our culture and our economy, are slowly being swallowed by the ocean. Now, this isn't just the plot of some disaster movie. It's a very real future we need to get our heads around. So let's dive right in. So this really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? Could that wild, waterlogged world we all saw in the movie WaterWorld actually become our reality? I mean, it sounds super dramatic, but it's a question that forces us to look at some very real and, frankly, some very scary projections. And boom, here's where the science fiction starts to feel a lot more like science fact. That number you see, 680 million, that's how many people are living right now in low-lying coastal areas, people who are directly in the line of fire. This isn't some far-off idea. It's the human scale of the challenge we're staring down today.
All right, so let's really dig into that Waterworld question. Forget the Hollywood special effects for a second. What are the scientists, the projections, actually telling us about the future of our coastlines? So check this out, because this is where a timeline starts to form. By 2050, and that's not that far away, we're not necessarily talking about cities being gone for good. But what we are talking about is a huge spike in major coastal floods, the kind of thing that shuts a city down for weeks. But fast forward to 2100 and the picture gets a whole lot worse. For a city like Miami, which is literally built on porous rock, the water won't just come over the seawalls. It's going to come up from the ground itself. And for historic places like Shanghai and Venice, well, what we call a high tide today could just become the new permanent street level.
So, what happens when the actual map of the world starts to get redrawn by water? Well, it could set off the single largest migration in all of human history. We're talking about a human exodus on a scale we have never, ever seen before. This quote, it isn't from just one person. It's the story you'd hear from millions. It's that slow, creeping dread when an abstract news headline about sea level rise suddenly becomes a foot of water in your own living room. And it all boils down to that one absolutely terrifying question: where on earth are we supposed to go?
And trying to answer that question, it becomes nearly impossible when the very systems we'd rely on to get out start to crumble. It's just this awful domino effect. First, transportation goes. Roads, airports, subways, they're all flooded. No way out. Then, that leads straight to the next step. The power grids go dark because so many power stations are in those same vulnerable areas. And of course, with no power, the communication networks just crash, leaving whole regions totally isolated and in the dark. And right in the middle of all that chaos, you have this monumental humanitarian crisis. I mean, just look at the absolute basics we're talking about here. Millions of people, all at once, needing shelter, needing clean food and water just to survive, and needing medical help for injuries and disease. The sheer logistics of it are just mind-boggling. But the thing is, the immediate crisis, the evacuation, that's really just the beginning. The long-term fallout would create ripples that spread across the entire planet, far, far away from the actual floodwaters. Just think about the money for a second. The economic devastation. We're not talking about losing a few houses. We're talking about losing entire ports, global financial hubs, massive industrial centers. The hit to the global supply chain and the world markets would be absolutely catastrophic. It would affect literally everyone, no matter where you live. And you've got to think, when millions of people are suddenly on the move, forced to cross borders just to find a safe place to live, it creates enormous pressure. That kind of mass displacement can spark all kinds of tensions over resources, leading to massive political instability and, in a worst-case scenario, even open conflict. A climate crisis can become a global security crisis really, really fast. And this is the part that, honestly, it's just heartbreaking. Some things, once they're gone forever. How do you put a price tag on a city like Venice, or the centuries of history in Shanghai, or the unique, vibrant culture of Miami? When these places disappear beneath the waves, we lose a piece of our shared human story, forever. Okay, I know this all sounds incredibly bleak, right? But the story is not over, not by a long shot. We are at a point right now where the choices we make are going to decide what that future actually looks like. And this breaks it down perfectly. We basically have two paths forward. On one hand, you have adaptation. This is about accepting a new reality and finding revolutionary ways to live with it. We're talking about wild ideas like floating communities or a massive planned relocation to what people are calling climate havens. But then, on the other hand, and this is just as critical, you have prevention. This is where we double down and fight to stop the worst case scenario from ever happening. That means cutting edge technology, global cooperation, and building smarter cities. And here's the key. It's not an either or. We're going to need a whole lot of both.
So we just mentioned climate havens. Let's just be super clear on what that actually means. They're basically areas, usually inland, higher up, that are identified as being safer spots for people to move to. And this isn't just an idea on a whiteboard anymore. Cities and regions are actually starting to plan for this, thinking about how they'd handle an influx of people. It's becoming a very real part of the adaptation strategy. But just adapting isn't enough, right? We have to prevent the worst. And this is what that glimmer of hope actually looks like. It's about using our incredible human ingenuity, things like carbon capture. But it's also about working together. It means global agreements that actually have some teeth. It means city planners who are proactive, who plan for rising waters instead of just reacting when it's too late. And ultimately, it comes down to all of us, a shared responsibility to protect this amazing planet we call home. This is how we write a totally different ending for our story. So we end up right back where we started. WaterWorld was just a movie. Its story was written, the credits rolled, and that was that. But our story is being written right now by every single choice we make. And the crucial question this all leaves us with is, what ending are we going to write for ourselves?